that. Okay. So today we're going to talk about Google Classroom and getting started with Google Classroom, how to set up your classroom if you've never done one before, how to post some assignments, some announcements for your kiddos. Just kind of this session was specifically designed for people who've never used Google Classroom before, or those who just sort of abruptly set one up at the end of the year as we switched into remote learning. So yes. I have a slideshow that I'm gonna project onto the screen so that everybody can see it. We'll zip through the slides pretty fast. And then at about the halfway point, we'll stop with the slides and you guys will get a chance to actually open Google Classroom and play around with it and set up your own classroom and ask questions. So.
Sarah, can I ask a question while you're—
Of course.
Yep. The other sessions, I really wanted to sign up for like every session.
Sure.
I only set up those that I knew I was available for. I'm working this summer, so the other times, and I really wanted some of those classes. Is there a way that I can just get the recording of those other sessions? I don't know how to go back and do that now.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. So the plan is as I said, I am recording each of the sessions as I do them through Zoom. So it has a link that you can click on to go and watch it. So what the plan to do is I'm going to email the people who were unable to attend but signed up on the Google form but weren't in the session like you guys are right now. I was going to email the recording to those people. But I also was providing the links to Linda Johnson, who's our webmaster. She puts together the Milford Public Schools webpage and have her put those on a subpage on the Milford Public Schools website, the technology section. But once we figure out where exactly they're going to go on the website, we'll make sure that everybody's aware of where they are. So
okay, thank you, Sarah.
Yep, no problem. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Maybe, there it goes. All right, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect, except I'm in the middle of it. Go to slide 1. Here we go. So this is getting started with Google Classroom. If you want a link to the slides, it's at the top. There's a short link and it will be on the bottom of each of the slides so that you can follow along and get it at a later time. So first, what is Google Classroom? And it's basically your classroom online in the best way that we've found to do that. It allows you to create and distribute assignments. It allows you to have the students collaborate on any projects or assignments. You can feedback on all of those assignments to the kiddos and they can reply back. They can ask questions if they're unsure how to do something. And in addition, it integrates with some of the other tools that we use as a district. We currently have full subscriptions to Pear Deck, and that's K-12. We have Newsela from 3rd grade to 8th grade. ReadWorks is a free website. EdSite is a free website. Edpuzzle is a website that has a free component. Some of us used the premium version during the school closures, but they do have a free part. Many teachers are planning to continue using. Actively Learn is another free website, and Khan Academy. Any of my middle and high school math science teachers would be very familiar with that one. And the really great thing about Google Classroom is our students can use it on any device. They can use it on a Chromebook, on a laptop, a desktop. They can even use it on a tablet or a phone. Some of the visuals of it look different when it's on a tablet or a phone, but they can still use it and still complete their assignments. So this was a quote from one of the teachers in a workshop that I attended once, and she basically said that when she assigned her document, her classwork to her kiddos through Classroom, the kids were all able to work on it at the same time. They were able to collaborate with it. She was able to project it on the board. This would be in the classroom if we were in school at the time. And it makes sure that everyone gets heard, even those shy kiddos who don't like to speak up in the middle of class. They're able to provide their voice through this online platform. Here's another quote. and she just kind of went through the different ways that she uses it. This is a high school teacher, so she uses it for her syllabus, her resources, the discussion questions, and it's also great for absent students. It keeps all the classwork in one place. A lot of middle school and high school teachers tend to use Google Classroom even when we're not in remote learning, because it's a great way for the kiddos to stay organized and know where their work is. Okay, so what do we do with it? And here's just a list of some of the stuff, some of the most common uses of Google Classroom. You can give assignments, collaborate, differentiate assignments, meaning you can give 2 versions of an assignment to 2 different groups of students and they never know the difference. You can reuse assignments. So for my high school and middle school teachers, those of you who teach multiple sections, you can post the assignment in one class and also post it in all the other sections of the same class. You can add co-teachers. So for those of us who co-teach with SPED or EL teachers, you can add them to your classroom and they can post assignments as well. You can post your resources, meaning those handouts and things that you give the kiddos to use throughout the year in class. You can put them on here so they're always available. You can have discussions and post quick polling type questions to get the students' responses. And you can provide in real-time feedback. So as the students are actually working on the assignment, you can view the assignment as they work and kind of prompt them and give them support along the way. And it's also a great place for keeping all of those links and stuff, all those websites that we send our kiddos to, keeping that nice and organized so you can categorize them and keep them in one place. So here's some of the things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about keeping your materials in one place, posting different types of posts into Google Classroom. We're going to talk about how the parents see it from their side, because it's a little different from how we see it as teachers and how the students see it. And we're going to talk about how the grading works. We don't encourage teachers right now to use the grading feature in Google Classroom because it doesn't sync up to X2. So we don't want you to have to do it twice, but there is a way to let the students know how they did with feedback and scores and points and things like that. So how do we use it? So what you do is you go to classroom.google.com. If you've ever noticed, all of the Google resources, they all end the same with .google.com. So it's docs.google.com, sheets.google.com, classroom is the same. You click on your Milford MA email address. And then if this is your first time ever using Google Classroom, you tell them whether you're a student or a teacher. Even if you're signing up to be a student in, for example, the mentoring group or a PD classroom, or I know those of us who are involved with the Propel grant, we're a student in a group that Jen created for us. You still want to click that you're a teacher, because if you click I'm a student, you don't have the capability to create classes, but if you're a teacher, you do. And even if kiddos click teacher, we have a way to go in the back door and switch that kiddo back to a student or that teacher back to a teacher. So what you're gonna do is when you give this to your students, there's gonna be a plus sign in the upper corner. They're gonna join a class and they're gonna have a unique class code that you give them to join and be a student in your class. As a teacher, you're gonna click create a class and it's gonna walk you through the prompts, which we'll do in a few minutes. So when you create, you give it a name. That's the only thing you have to do. Some of the middle and high school teachers who teach multiple sections, they give them numbers and colors and different distinctions within these other fields. But for most of us, I think most of the people in this session are K-2 or K-5. You really just need that class name so that you know who's who. And then once you're done, it generates. And there's actually, when you do it the very, very first time, there's a bunch of little prompts that pop up and guide you through the different parts of the screen and the different things that you can do. So when we talked about the students signing into your classroom, we talked about a class code. In the header bar up here where it says kindergarten websites, there's a little link that says, I think it's about class, and it gives you a class code. And then this funny little open square means that it projects full screen. So this would be the class code for anyone who wanted to join this classroom. So what teachers do for the most part, is on the day when they're having the kids sign up for it, whole group in class, they project this on the screen. They walk around the room, make sure the kids are signing in properly. A lot of them write this code in their plan book or in the corner of their whiteboard in the front of the room, so that for those kids who accidentally leave the room, those kids who come in a later date in the classroom, the kid who was absent the day that you signed everybody into their classrooms, that code is readily available. You don't have to go digging back into Google Classroom to find it, but it's right there. You also get the option to personalize the header. It used to be that you had to choose one of Google's pre-made headers. Now there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there about personalizing and putting your Bitmoji header up there and all kinds of stuff. But for this particular purpose, we're just going to stick with the general Google headers. They're pretty colorful and a lot of them are pretty fun, and you can usually find one that will appeal to you in your class. Once we dive in a little deeper, you'll notice that there's a stream, which is kind of like your Twitter page or your Facebook feed, where everything just kind of builds on top of each other. Google Classroom defaults to let the kids post their own posts in addition to the teacher, as well as make comments on each other. Especially for younger children, I recommend turning this feature off. We don't want kids going on there and posting, hey, hi, Mrs. Boyle, how are you? Da, 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 da. And it just turns into this constant stream of information that everybody can see, where that information probably would have been kept better as a private comment. And I'll show you where the kids can make those private comments. So when we go into Google Classroom, one of the things you'll see right here on the very first page when you sign into your stream is share something with your class. This is where you can type your announcements really quick. You can just say, hey, don't forget there's a quiz on Friday, or don't forget Tuesday is library day, or something real quick and fast that you just want to send out as a reminder. You can put it right here at the top, click enter, and it'll post for your class. When you click over to the classwork tab, you will see this create button, and that's where you'll actually dig a little deeper into assignments and questions and quizzes and things like that, and we'll dig into that together. So this is the different options that you have, and there's actually a few more. This is a older screenshot. I think there's one now for quiz and maybe even something else, but these are just kind of a general guideline. And then once you're creating an assignment, you can decide who it's assigned to. So where it says kindergarten websites and there's a drop down, you can choose more than one class. And where it says all students, you can drop down and you can say, I want it to go to every kid in my class, or I only want it to go to these 5 kids who need to work on multiplication facts. Everybody else is moving on to division. So I only need this assignment for these 5 kids. It will only show up for those 5 kids. And the other 15, 16, 17 kids don't even know that it's there. You can adjust the point value. You can give it a topic, which allows you to group assignments together. During remote learning, a lot of teachers use the topics and they actually put in the dates so that assignments were grouped by dates, whether they were, ELA, science, and math, but they were all due for the same day. They used the dates for their topics to keep the assignments together. You can also include a due date, and you can post all different kinds of things. It integrates seamlessly with YouTube, so that's why there's a YouTube icon on there. There's a paperclip for attachments, things that are stored on your computer. There's a Google Drive icon where you can find things that are stored in your drive and share them to kids. And then there's a link icon, which means that you can post a link to an outside website. Things like ReadWorks, things like BrainPop. You could post them as a link so that the kids could go straight to that website. When you share things from your Google Drive, you want to make sure that you choose the correct option for how it's going to be shared to your kids. If it's a file from your Google Drive that you just need the kids to look at, like a directions page or a character traits worksheet that they just need to see the big long list of character traits, that would be students can view because they only need to see it. If it's something that's collaborative and you want them to work together, or you want each student to respond and put one idea on the page, That would be students can edit because they're all going to be working on the same document. If you want it to be more like a traditional, I made 20 copies, I'm giving one to each kid at their own desk, that's make a copy for each student. So a lot of times teachers get a little upset because they put a lot of time into this assignment. They've made this great worksheet for their kids to do. They go to assign it in Google Classroom and now all 25 of them are writing on top of each other, or all 25 of them can't do anything on it at all. So you want to make sure that if you're expecting each student to have their own copy and complete their own work, that you make a copy for each student. And this only works when it's a file in Google Drive. It doesn't work for attachments. So if you want each student to have their own copy, you have to take that file and put it into your Google Drive first, then assign it, choose this make a copy for each student option, and then assign the assignment to the kids. The other thing that teachers notice is when they want to make a copy for each student, but they chose one of the other choices in the original posting, the make a copy for each student is only available the first time you post the assignment. So let's say you posted it, you made the wrong choice, you go in to edit it, that choice isn't there anymore. You have to delete the post and reassign it so that that option comes back and you can give each student a worksheet. It's happened many, many, many times. Our students in 5th grade and up are probably used to seeing an assignment, seeing it disappear and come back again. It's not uncommon for this to happen. When you post a question, you can post an open response question. There's also a multiple choice option where you can pre-program results. And when you do a written response, you have the option to allow students to reply to each other. So if you ask a question of, what did you do this week? And all the students are responding, you can turn on or off their ability to reply to each other within the answers. And they also, you can turn on or off their ability to edit their answers. So whether you want to allow that discussion to happen within Google Classroom, or if you want to hold all of those answers and have that discussion in a Zoom meeting like this one, that's totally up to you. Again, when you're doing materials, questions, things like that, you can choose a topic to keep them organized. If you're choosing to have one classroom for all of your subjects, I would recommend using the topic to kind of group things by math dash multiplication, math dash fractions, so that the kids know what's what. A lot of teachers from 3rd grade and up choose to have separate classrooms for each of the subjects. Even though they have the same kids for most of the day, they have a separate classroom for reading, a separate classroom for writing, a separate classroom for math. It keeps the work a little separated and makes it a little less overwhelming for the kids to see. When you get into the people page, right now the only one on this people page is me. But once your students have signed in, you'll start seeing all of their names populate here. But you can also add a co-teacher, like we talked about having those SPED or EL co-teachers who are in our room all the time. We can add them here. They can post assignments, they can reply to kiddos, they can answer questions. This is also a great place to have your paraeducators, your IAs, your BAs. You can have them in here too. They can do the same thing. They can build those relationships with students. And this page is going to be, right now, it's the Google page for how to work with Google Classroom, but we're also going to post some videos and other links here to get you started and ways, questions, frequent questions that happen when you're using Google Classroom. So those will be here too when you grab the slideshow. So I think that's it for this one. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Anybody have any questions before we start playing around?
Sarah,
Yes, ma'am.
when you give the students their codes,
Yes.
is that done through their email in X2, or like this year, that was a big issue, how to get those to students? That will all be resolved in the fall, will it?
So all of that hinges on how we open. If we open in person in any shape or form, my recommendation is, even if you don't have your Google Classroom all pretty and fancy and set up totally the way you want, make one and share that code with the kids, and then you can come back and change it and not the code, but you can change the header, you can change the colors, you can change all of that later, but at least get that code into their hands.
Okay.
If we open remotely, the easiest way to get these codes to the kiddos from 5th grade down is to email the parents, and the parent emails are found in X2.
Okay. That's what we did.
Because our kiddos don't have access to email, even internally, they have email totally shut off from 5th grade down.
Okay.
So you need to reach out to the parents, whether it's through email, through Class Dojo, whatever communication method you're using for your parents.
Okay.
Since it's the beginning of the year, I would stick with email since we haven't said anything else yet at that
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah.
Yep. Anybody else have a question before we start?
I have a question
Please.
about how do I see the student, what the student is seeing?
That's an excellent question. You don't. Unfortunately, it's one of the biggest requests I think a lot of teachers have made. What do the kids see? How do I see what the kids see? The easiest thing I can say to do would be, Bob, you're teaching science 5th grade, correct?
Correct.
So maybe join one of the other 5th grade science teachers' classes as a student, because I can only imagine that you guys are going to be collaborating and sharing a lot of assignments and doing the work together. So you may just want to join one of their classrooms as a student so that you can see, so you guys can check up on each other and say, hey, this didn't post right, or this doc didn't show up, or this slideshow isn't working the way we wanted it to. And that would kind of alleviate, and they can do the same to your class. So one of the other science teachers could join as a student in your class. Unfortunately, you can't be a student and a teacher in your class at the same time.
Even if you, Sarah, even if you made up like a fictitious name, no.
Nope, because the way our Google Classroom is set up, everybody has to be verified with a Milford MA.
I see.
Okay.
The other option you can do is you can reach out to myself or Steve Weber at the middle school and high school level. He and I have both joined many Google Classrooms as students just to help give you guys feedback. Someone will say, hey, I posted this assignment. The kids are saying it's not working. Can you sign in as a student for me? I'll give you the code. Can you tell me what's going wrong? And I do that all the time.
Okay.
So many classes I've joined and left and got
Okay.
kicked out of. It's not even funny.
And for the record, Sarah, you're imagining a level of teamwork across
I know.
clusters that simply doesn't exist.
I know. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, but I mean,
Hopeful.
there's good reason why it doesn't exist,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But
Nope, that's fine. But like I said, if you want me to join as a student to come and kind of play around and click on things and see what's working and what's not, I am more than happy to do that.
I mean, the kids private commented me,
Mhm.
When things weren't
Yep.
working for them, and that seemed to work. So
That
I
works
was
too.
wondering if I could, so you answered the question I had.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm hoping that's coming soon because Google's pretty responsive to teacher requests for stuff that seems pretty sensical to us. They just didn't think of it. So I'm hoping that that's coming. I just couldn't speak to when.
I also have a question regarding wording
Sure.
for communicating to the students what constitutes appropriate commenting. So I'm not so much worried, although I suppose it could and did happen somewhere where someone posted something that was just not school appropriate.
Sure.
But I'm more concerned about all of the kind of clutter and which constitute the niceties,
Yes.
of online communication, like thanks, okay, and because each one of those is just generating an email to me.
Absolutely.
And, I'm getting literally hundreds and hundreds of emails a day as a result. So how do I communicate that in a way that would be not too harsh? Because I think I was pretty harsh in the spring, because it got overwhelming.
Sure. No, I think in the beginning, you're going to get it just because, you have 4th graders coming up who maybe aren't used to the way that things are run in 4th grade. And the same for any grade. Kids are coming up and they're new and they want to be polite and they want to be kind. And you may just want to let it go for the first week or two, but then as you're establishing your protocols, be like, hey guys, I know you're thankful. I know you want to say, you know, good job. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. You want to make those comments, but you got to realize I have 125 kids. I'm getting 125 emails every single time every kid wants to say thank you. So I think if you relay the depth of how bulky all of that is for you, there's also a way, and I know you wouldn't want to do it right now, for teachers to turn off the different ways that we get notified in email. So you can turn off different levels of notifications. So that would be something that once you've had that conversation with them, you may want to turn off that notification so that you don't get that email bing every time a kid makes a comment as well.
All right, Sarah, I have a question.
Okay.
At the primary grade, K2, we're not sure what platform we're using yet, whether it's going to be Google Classroom or maybe Seesaw. But either way, what are we going to offer parents who are not familiar with these programs for the remote part, if it be, and you know, how they can navigate it rather than asking teachers for help? And we may not know all the answers because it's new to us as well. I mean, is there to be something for these parents, like something like this for them to access, to teach them?
I'm sure there will be something. I can't speak to what it will look like. I know when certain people reached out to me in the spring as we were trying to make our way and figure out what was going to work and what was going to be used. There's tons of stuff out there, like parent handbooks that are like 5 pages long. Like, here's what you do to get into Google Classroom. Here's how Seesaw works. Here's this, here's that. Here's what your kid's assignment looks like. So that's out there. We can, you know, adopt some of those, make those our own. If teachers wanted to, I'm not going to offer necessarily a Zoom session like this one for all, you know, 4,000 families that we have, but maybe if teachers wanted to offer their own little down and dirty, this is how, you know, you click in here, this is what you click, this is what you do, this is how you turn it back in, that might be more reasonable in terms of numbers, because once you hit like 20 people on a screen, you don't even see everybody anymore all at the same time. But that's something we can figure out as we get closer. We're not going to leave parents high and dry. We're definitely going to provide support, considering most likely there's going to be some sort of remote component to next year. We're just not sure about what that's going to look like yet.
Okay.
Any others? All right, so here's what I want you to do. On your Zoom window, up in the top right-hand corner, there's the 3 icons. There's the X, there's the square, and there's like the minus sign. If you hit the minus sign, what it does is it shrinks me down into a little tiny square that floats around on your screen. So if you want to do that, and then open up a web browser, preferably Google Chrome. And I want you to go to classroom.google.com.
Sarah, can you say that again? I couldn't find what
Yep.
you were talking about.
So the website, or which part?
Where I'm supposed to be looking.
For the minimize?
I can minimize you. Yep.
So then
then
you're
where
going to
am I?
open a web browser. And you're going to type classroom.google.com. And if it prompts you to sign in, you can sign in with your school email address.
All I see, it says Milford School District, Stephen Weber. Am I on the right page?
Yes. So if that's coming,
Okay.
up, you're
Yeah.
automatically logged into any of the classrooms. What you want to do is go in the upper left-hand corner. There's the 3 stacked lines.
Okay.
Click on that and click where it says classes.
Still trying to get to that web browser there, Sarah. So
Are
I
you on
minimized
your laptop, your Chromebook, or your iPad?
iPad.
Okay.
So I
So you,
minimized. And I'm back.
Sarah,
so you want to
Sorry.
open Safari, Colleen?
Okay.
Yes.
Sarah, mine just keeps saying no classes here, and it has like
Yes,
a
because you
folder.
don't have any classes yet. You're good.
Okay, all right.
All right. It's not letting me go to. All right, I can't even get into Safari. I'm at like the beginning of the Zoom where you would say join or schedule, share. It's got those 4 things. I can't get out of. I minimized, but I can't get out of here.
Do you have the Classroom app on your iPad, Colleen?
I have it on my phone, but I want to
Okay,
get.
can you
iPad.
get it on your iPad from the App Store?
I could probably.
Try that.
I might have to. I don't want to lose you, but we'll try this.
You can lose me. It's okay. I promise.
Just let me back in if I lose you. Hold on.
Good go. All right. So I'm going to share my screen for those of you that need a little bit more like visual step by step. But you should have a screen if you've never joined a class before, if you've never built a class before, you should have a grayish kind of screen that says there are no classes here, basically. And then in the sort of upper right-handish corner, there should be a plus sign. That plus sign should be there for everybody, whether you have classes or not. And when you click on that plus sign, you should get join class or create class. Join class is for kiddos to be part of your class, or it can be used for if you're joining, for example, the mentoring program, Google Classroom, the book clubs that Craig Consigli is putting together. This would be where you would join those classes that they're sending out. But for our purposes, we're gonna create a class. So if you're on this page, I want you to go to the plus sign and click create class.
Sarah, I'm on the page, but mine only gives me the option to join my first class, it says.
Okay. So
Me
that
too.
means, so who's the me too?
Kathleen.
All right, so that means I need to go into the settings. At some point down the line, someone set you up as a student and not a teacher. So I have to go in and change your settings so that you can create a class.
All right.
Does anybody else have that? Anybody else missing create class?
Yes, I am. Nancy Curran.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'm still downloading.
All at the same time.
Laurie Blaney.
You too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrea Toothman also.
Okay. All right, so for those that are able to, go ahead and create your class, give it a name.
Can you change that at any time?
Oh yeah, you can come in and
Okay.
change it. You can, so what, I'll give you a perfect example. Our STEAM teachers had Google Classroom. They were using it all year long. And when we switched into remote mode, they realized that they needed to change the naming process that they put on them. And they wanted to put the teacher's last name at the beginning of each of the classes names so that it was easier for the kiddos and the teachers to figure out who was who. So you can come in and change that at any time. And so if you're looking at my screen, you'll see it has these little pop-up boxes that kind of guide you through everything. So if this is your first time using Google Classroom, I strongly suggest that you read these and make sure that you're seeing what they're pointing out, because right now this one's pointing out the class code, where that code is. That's pretty important. You're going to want to know that. So you can check it out and click got it. And then you can start kind of clicking around. You can change the theme over here where it says select theme. You can pick a different picture. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to sign in and fix these accounts for these.
Sarah?
It's
Yep.
Laurie Yara. I need some help too. I can't get on.
Okay.
Earlier today, I was in a session talking about Google Classroom, and they said if you call it Sandbox, because it's a dummy account and you don't want dummy account showing up on your, or dummy class, you know.
We
Which I thought
sandbox a lot in the tech
insightful.
department. All right, so you guys play around if you can. If you can't, just give me a second. I'm gonna fix the settings for these teachers who can't get in. If anybody else can't get in, is just seeing join class, please let me know.
Me, Colleen.
Peg.
It's asking for my class code.
Okay, give me 1 sec.
Yeah, no problem.
Sarah, you did get me, right, Andrea?
Think so, yeah. I mean, I got you on my list. I'm going
Yeah,
through
okay,
it.
gotcha.
Sure.
I'm having a hard time with this whole thing.
Sarah, I have a question. Should I just sign up to my regular Google Classroom? And I just needed a refresher about this. 'Cause
Oh,
it's
you already
telling
have the
me-
Google Class? Yeah, you should be in there.
I have, yeah.
Yes, you should totally be in there.
Okay.
Those of you who couldn't get into Google Classroom, try doing a refresh. That's the circle arrow over next to your address bar. And Colleen, you may need to shut down the app and restart it.
Okay.
Yeah, Mine no. works, Sarah.
Yay!
Yeah. I have to jump off and take my daughter to work. You're recording this, right? I can jump back
I
on.
am. Yep, no
Yeah,
problem.
awesome. Thank you for
Sarah,
doing that.
mine still says join a
Okay, let me
class.
see what I got going on.
Sarah, I got in. I'm all set.
Awesome. Let me grab Peg.
Sarah, I think I'm in. It says create a class. I'm where I should
Yes,
be,
that's
right?
what you want.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, Peg, if you refresh, you should be good.
The only choice I get is join the class and playtime.
Okay. Try acting off and going back in because I did just add you, so it may take a sec.
All right.
And-
Laurie Blaney, I still can't get in.
Who's that?
Laurie Blaney.
Huh. All right, let me check. Here. Did you refresh, Lori?
Yes.
Try Xing off and going back on
Okay.
because you're in the list, but for whatever reason. And you're in your school email address?
Yes.
So mine's coming up, add another account or manage my accounts on this device. Do I want to manage my Google account?
Yes.
It's Colleen, I'm sorry.
Nope, manage your account.
Now it's asking me to update my photo. Do I need that? Can I just skip that part? Or, no, I guess not. It's blue. Oh, really? Can I just cancel it? Remove account from this device. All right, let me X that out. Really? Google Classroom classes.
Sarah, it's still asking me to sign up. I can't even get on my usual one.
Are you signed in with your school email, Laurie?
Yeah.
Laurie.
I signed in, you know, to get on the Zoom, so I'm assuming it.
But that doesn't mean you're signed into Google.
Okay.
And into your Google account, like open your email.
Uh-huh.
And then from your email, go to the waffle and click on Google Classroom.
Okay. Okay. I can do that.
All right, for those of you that are in, try posting an announcement and try posting a question. See if you can figure out where those are. And if you're stuck, please ask for help.
Yeah, help.
Yeah, help.
Share something with your class? Is it the little?
Yes.
Oh,
That's your
okay.
announcement. Yep.
Okay.
I'm currently signed in as Colleen Ferrer at Milford MA, but it's asking for a class code, which I don't have.
So you
but
don't want that because that would mean you're trying to join a class. You want to create a class.
Well, and then it also gives me a blue thing saying switch account.
Nope, you don't want that.
No. Okay. And then this help center article, maybe I should just read that. It doesn't let me join. The join's not lit up. So, because it's asking for a class code. I'm wondering if maybe Jen had set it up already, so I'm maybe in there.
No, but you can have more than one class.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, mine's not.
Try this. Peg and anybody else who's still not seeing the join, so don't X out of the window, but try signing out of Google, like sign out of your account and signing back in if you haven't already.
Sign out, sign back in.
Did anybody get an announcement posted?
I did.
I did. So is this where you could communicate with like just one parent at a time?
No.
Because at the first grade level, they're not really reading this. So it would be more for the parents or
So
no?
Google Classroom is going to be more of your assignment distribution. I would not use Google Classroom as your primary communication tool.
Okay, so it's not like in place of a dojo or a class tag or something like that.
I would say moving forward, the direction we're going in as a district is Google Classroom does offer some communication components, but it tends to be more assignment based, like communication about how do I do this assignment? I don't understand what to do, that kind of stuff. If you're going to be communicating with parents about, for example, behavior or concerns or stuff like that, I would stick with the email notifications. And moving forward, we're leaning towards talking points because it offers language and the translations for the parents. You can still use Class Dojo for your behavior reinforcement, your classroom management, those types of tools. But we want to steer everybody towards using talking points so that we can provide quality with the translations and the communication.
Can you use this in place of Zoom? Can you?
No.
Oh, you can't. So you would still need some type of a video class as well.
So that we have a couple
of
different
one-stop shopping.
No,
Yeah, I know.
there's
That's
none.
what I want.
There's nothing, is there?
There's none.
Oh, well, I
kind of
tried.
like broad overarching, Google Classroom is for assignment, pass out and pass. Zoom is going to be for seeing each other face to face.
Yeah, okay.
With an L is going to be for recording videos. So if you wanted to record a video of you teaching the kiddos equal groups and stuff like that, that's what that would be for.
Okay.
And then talking points is what we're leaning towards for the communication piece, that and email, obviously.
So underneath the class code, it says generate meet link. That's not something
We're not
that we-
using that. Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
I get it.
We're not using that because
I tried.
I
know.
I know. The features that we have to pay for
Okay.
more,
All right.
well, they're an additional cost to what we're already paying for Zoom and Zoom
Okay.
has those same safety features.
Sarah, where it says share something with your class, that's where we were
Yes.
supposed to type something, correct?
Yes. So type, hey, how are you? Welcome to class, whatever you want.
Okay.
And so Sarah, whenever you post an announcement, then the students are getting an email, correct?
Let me see if I get this right. In the high school, I'm almost certain they all get emails.
How about middle school?
The middle school, I have to double check with Dan Nelson because I know they can get internal direct emails from the teachers. I think we also made it so that they can get the Google emails too, but let me double check before I say yes or no. On that.
So otherwise they would just have to show up to Google Classroom and
Yep.
look at the stream and see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we are, if we're going to be totally remote, it's just going to be a matter of, I did it with my kids, and my kids are not in a Google district, so it was a hot mess getting their Google Classrooms all set up because there was no consistency. There was nothing. They just sat down, and the first thing they did at school time was they logged into Google Classroom. They clicked into each classroom. They had to see what was posted, whether it was new or not, whether there was an announcement, a grade, a this, or that. It's going to have to become, this is when they walk in the room and they check the board to see if there's a warm up or write down their work in their agenda. It's going to have to become that common practice.
So when we went to remote learning, because I teach ELs, went right to I got them trained only to go to the classwork and not the stream, because anything that I would post there would just it would be pushed down, and they don't look at the time or the date. And so like, this is too confusing. So they were just using classwork.
Yep. So the stream does work similar to your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed. It does post newest to the top, and it all kind of goes down from there. One of the things that Google Classroom does do is when you post an assignment or a question or an anything, it also posts it to the stream, but you can turn that off so that you are reserving the stream specifically for announcements and reminders. But that's a setting. I can show everybody where that is. And
I'd like to know that, Sarah.
So that all they see are announcements and special things in the stream, and all of the classwork stays in the classwork. It's
Thank you.
both.
I'd love to know how to do that. Thank you.
So if let me find my classroom. I just lost it. Here it is. Okay. Once you're in your classroom, if you go over to the settings gear in the upper right-hand corner, it gives you your class details. This is where you would also go to change the name of that class if you decided to call it something else. This is where you would also change if students can post and comment, if they can only comment, or only the teachers can do that. And then the next one says classwork on the stream. You can hide notifications. That takes classwork totally out of the stream.
Thank you. Okay, that's great to know.
Yep.
Sarah, I have a question can you see who's looked at any of your? No. So you won't have an idea of which students read the information?
Nope. The only thing you can do, and it's not going to show up here, so I'm going to stop sharing this one and excuse me, share a different one, is you can see who has turned it in a quick glance. You can't see who has looked at it. There's no way to see that. You can, so if it's a Google, like let's say it's a, give me a sec, a Google Doc that you're posting as like a reference page, for example, a list of the top 100 character traits, and you want to see how many kids have actually opened it and looked at it. There is an analytics tracker where you can see who's clicked into it, but it only records kids who are signed in to their Google account on a laptop, desktop, or Chromebook. It doesn't record who's signed in on a phone or a tablet, because when you're on a phone or a tablet, it opens up a new app. So it's totally different. So it'll give you a little bit of what you're working for, but not totally.
Okay.
When you are, this isn't a good one. When you're in your Google Classroom and you've posted an assignment and you want to see how many kids have done it, you can click on the assignment. So for example, this was a math assignment. And out of this math assignment, 8 kids have turned it in. 13 kiddos are still waiting to turn it in. So that's all you get in terms of who's done it or who hasn't done it. And then when you click on these numbers, you can see these are the 8 kiddos who finished. This is each of their files. You can click on 13 and see the 13 kiddos that haven't turned it in. Maybe they finished it, but they haven't turned it in yet. You could click into each one of these and see what's going on there. If any of them asked for help, you would see that in the assignment over here. So this would be all of the comments and things that you would see. But in terms of seeing who opened something or not, that's not an option. But you can
Sarah,
give them that feedback.
I have another question about submitting versus turning it in.
Yes.
And I never really understood, if you can just speak to that.
Yep. So when you post an assignment, sometimes the assignments are worksheets or writing activities or an actual product. When you've assigned them a product that they need to work on and then submit to you, the button says turn in, because they're actually turning in a document to you. If your assignment is, for example, go on BrainPop, watch this video, complete this quiz, and do this assignment, they're not actually turning anything in. So the button says submit. So when it's not an actual product that they've typed or written into, they can't turn anything in, but they can submit it. They can say that they're done. So, and it confirms with them. So when they hit that button, a pop-up pops up and says, you're submitting an assignment, but you're not attaching any work. Is this accurate? And they would just hit the submit button again.
And so when it's like a Google form and they're submitting that, right? Or are they turning that one in? I mean,
so that one is a mark is done because it's turned in through Google Forms, not through Google Classroom.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So when they complete the Google form, when they finished all of the questions, at the bottom of the form, there's a submit button. So they hit submit, that turns in to you.
And that's it.
Google form turns in just the same way.
Okay.
They go back to Google Classroom. There's a button that says mark as done. Click that button and it prompts.
I'm trying to do this
Google. You're not
Google,
turning
okay?
anything in, and they say yes.
Free cat is plenty.
Sarah, can you show us that?
I can try.
Okay.
Don't know if it'll show up. Give me one sec. Let's try this one. All right, so I'm in here. I'm going to go to classwork. Oops. I'm going to make an assignment. So I go to create, I go to assignment. I don't know the accuracy of this, but I have read many articles online that say do not use the quiz assignment option from this menu. They say it's not as reliable. So we're just going to make an assignment. So I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to make just any Google form I want. And there's other sessions later in the series about how to fill out a Google form. We're not going to dive into that right now. So there's my form. It's right here. This is for the kiddos to take. When I click assign, this is their assignment. This is what I see on my end. When they click in, what they see, hold on one sec. Looks more like this. And over on the right-hand side, they have a button that'll say mark is done. It might say turn in, it might say submit, but there's a button on the side. And when they're done with their work, they hit that button and that's what turns it back into you. Not a student. I don't think I'm a student in any of these classes. But, oh, I can show you one of my kids. So this one is, here we go. We'll do this one. So this is my 4th grader. This was his work. This is what they saw. So over here on the side, this is what the kiddos see. They see the title, they see the directions, they see all the attachments. If you've turned on commenting, they'll see everybody else's comments over here on the side. And over here is where they'll see whether they can upload a document. So for example, this was an art teacher. So when they were completed their art assignment, they were supposed to take a picture of it and add it here. And then they would mark it as done. Times the teacher would say, do this thing on BrainPop, and they would say, mark is done. And the box would say, you haven't attached anything. Are you sure? And they would just click yes or agree. If you've assigned them a Google Doc, a Google Slides, all of those files would be here and the button would say turn in. So, oops, wrong teacher. This teacher, oh, she's a good one. They were studying South America. Here we go. So these were her files over here. These were videos that she wanted them to watch, but she had a Google Docs that she wanted them to complete. So they would open this up, they would do their work, and then they would turn it in when they were done.
And if they don't turn it in, because what happened, it's just hanging out there.
Yep. So on your side, when you see that counter, when you click into the assignment and you see the numbers of who's turned it in and who's not, that's where that'll show for you. For these kiddos, this button will turn into, once they've turned it in, so once my daughter would have turned this in, it would have said unsubmit, meaning they could take it back if they realized they didn't, they needed to fix something. But that was her way of knowing that it was done. And then when I go to, as a student, when I go to classwork, I can click on view your work and it'll show you your to-do list of all the stuff. What's been assigned to me, what's been returned and graded to me, what's still missing, what I still have to do. It'll show you the due dates when everything was due, so you know how long it's been missing. And it has little comments. So anytime a comment was made or an attachment is there, these paper clips are attachments, little speech bubbles would be comments. It'll tell you, like maybe the teacher said, hey, you haven't turned in any work, what's going on? That might be a comment that I would want to click on here.
Sarah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
About accountability.
Uh-huh.
One of the chronic problems I encountered in the spring was students who would click, turned in,
yep,
because their parent was just looking for anything in red, and so long as they saw everything green, they assumed everything was fine, even though the child didn't do anything on the assignment, but turned it in blank.
My son did that.
Yeah. So
I caught him.
yeah, well, that's great if your parent happens to be an IT professional.
Yeah.
But, most of mine weren't, and so
Yeah.
as a result, it was just a chronic problem. I could not communicate enough to the kids not to do that. That because the reinforcement of not getting caught more than they got caught.
Yep.
There was just not enough accountability.
Right. I think the part of the problem is we didn't know how it was going to go. We weren't sure how grading and accountability was going to go on our side, and therefore the kiddos knew that probably they could get away with some stuff that they wouldn't normally get away with. I think that's going to be totally different come the fall, whether we're fully in school, fully hybrid, whatever it may be. There's going to be accountabilities and protocols put in place. Same as if, Johnny turned in every page this week and just went ABCD, ABCD, ABCD. You would email mom and dad, you would phone call mom and dad, you would do whatever you're going to do to get in touch with them. I think that same idea, we're going to have to establish a way of letting parents know that just because it's not red doesn't mean your kid did what they were supposed to do. And aside, my son's in 4th grade and he was doing it. He knew better. Like, they know better, but if they can get away with it and don't have to do all of their work, some of them are going to try it. So it's just a matter of, letting mom and dad know that it's not just a matter of red versus green as in terms of completing an assignment. Okay. Peg, did you get in? All right. You're muted. Can you?
All I keep getting is a screen that says playtime.
All right.
And,
so
and then it had like little earphones and it had, what else was there? I can't remember. It just had, it says playtime 0 students. There's a file folder.
Okay. Hold on one sec. Anybody else having trouble? Laurie Blaney, did you get in? You're muted. I can't. Yeah.
Yes, I got in.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Colleen, did you ever figure yours out?
No, but I have one. I'm in a Google Classroom under my own thing, so I'll just keep playing with that one. I can't get into the town one though.
Okay.
So I'm playing with my phone one on there, but.
Okay.
Good.
Anybody else have any questions? There's more Google Classroom sessions, so like definitely write down any questions or like how-tos. We have tons of little short videos and stuff that I'm gonna plop on the end of that slides. I'll give it to you. And anything other than that, if you're done and you're good, feel free to log off. I'm gonna work with Peg and see if I can get her on with her. She's gonna share her screen with me.
Well, I am.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and figure that out. But if anybody else has any other questions, please feel free. Yeah, Christine.
Sarah, okay, Sarah, I was wondering, do you really think this is beneficial for K-2, or do you see us going towards the seesaw route? You don't know?
I don't know.
I know that there is a class on using seesaw.
Yes.
I'm gonna get all confused if I start you doing both. You know, go ahead.
So Google Classroom is great for disseminating stuff, passing stuff out. It is geared more towards older students. I know there's tons of teachers who've used it and they've been successful with it. And they're like, oh no, kids can learn to use it. I get it. I totally get it. However, Seesaw is a lot more intuitive for little kiddos. It has audio input, it has the video input. It's a lot more little kid friendly. I mean, there's no other ways. It just is. It's more bubbly, more fun. Can we get our kids to use Google Classroom? Absolutely. Is it probably going to be a little bit more of a learning curve? Most likely. But it is possible. I can't speak to one or the other. Whichever way the district decides to go in, I'm here. I'm ready to support everybody. I know both of them. I can imagine some teachers, if we do decide to go Google Classroom, are still going to use, especially for our ELs and our SPED kiddos and the kindergartners, the input options available with Seesaw are invaluable, and they're just not the same on Google.
Is Seesaw free for us?
No.
Or do we
Yes, but no. It's free for the first 100 assignments. You only have 5 classes, so it's not really going to work for like gym, RPE, stuff like that. And you can only have 2 teachers in each classroom. So for example, if you made a classroom and you had it set up for your kiddos, you can only make 5 classes and you can only have 2 teachers in each one. So if you had a special educator and an EL educator that you wanted to add to there, you couldn't add them both. If you wanted to surpass all of that, they do offer a more premium subscription, which I think is like $150 per teacher for the year. And then you get more activities, more teachers, more class, like it opens up more. But what we used for the majority of this year, the teachers who did use it, was the free subscription.
Sarah, when are the classes for those? Will there be an email out with that
Nope.
too?
So there's not an email, but if you go back to that Google form, all of the dates and stuff are on there.
For Seesaw too?
Yep. So Seesaw is together. I forget what it's together
Like
with.
August 17th or something like that.
There you go.
It's just one date, Cheryl, August 17th?
Yeah.
One day.
All right, I'll go back. Okay.
It's paired up with Ed Puzzle.
Yes.
And it was on that Google, the thing that we just got in regard to this?
Yeah, it's on like, I have I printed out the thing. It's on like page 3. It says Thursday, August 13th at 9 a.m.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
And I just had a question with regards to the class code that you're assigned. Is that something that stays with you the whole time? Does it get deleted?
Nope, the class code stays the same. It does not change. It is the code that is assigned to that classroom. If you, excuse me, If you are in that classroom, the code goes with it. So like, for example, if I created 5 classrooms, one for math, one for reading, one for science, one for social studies, each of those classes has a different code.
Oh, okay.
Yep. It's not like not all of my classes are the same. Each class has a different code. That way you get different kids in each one.
So maybe that's why it kept asking me for my classroom code. Like, would they already have me assigned with Jen? So I would need her classroom code.
But that shouldn't matter because you should still be able to create a class.
Create one. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess her stuff up.
Nope.
That's all.
You're good.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Anytime.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank you,
Bye,
Sarah.
Thank you.
All right.